Okay, dear friends, now I am going to dictate second paper of higher grade. I am dictating model paper 2 of book code SH2 of Andhra Pradesh. There are five letters in elaboration and condense the following for 5 minutes. Now you please get ready. 5 seconds. Number 1. Many of the eligible voters of your locality did not find their names in the voters list prepared for the last parliamentary elections. So they had not exercised their franchise in the previous general elections. Draft letter to Commissioner Municipal Corporation Hyderabad to take steps to rectify the mistakes and make the lists up to date as early as possible and before the ensuing elections to the state legislature. Number 2. The government of Andhra Pradesh have decided to make Telugu the medium of instruction at the college level from this year, possibly on the pattern obtaining in Madras and other states. Sudden change over to Telugu will put the English medium students to many difficulties in their studies. Simultaneous sections for English also necessary for some years to come. English is essential for keeping pace with the developments in the knowledge of science, and its retention at college and postgraduate level is necessary. Draft letter to the editor The Hindu. Number 3. Draft advertisement calling for applications for a clerk cum steno post, 40 words in English typewriting and 90 words per minute in English shorthand essential. Graduates below 25 years only need apply. Commerce graduates and those with knowledge of Urdu preferred. Candidates should be prepared to come to Hyderabad for test at their own expense. Scale of pay is rupees 250 to 600 per mansem with usual allowances. Application forms can be had from the manager Murali Iron Stores Hyderabad before 10th September 1971. Draft suitable advertisement calling for applications. Number 4. Prepare a notice as from Sri Meenakshi Mills Limited Rajamandri to its members that an extraordinary general body meeting will be held at the registered office of the company on 1st September 1971 at 4 p.m. to transact the following business. A. Election of one director in place of Sri Ramarao who died recently. B. Declaration of dividend. C. Any other matter brought by the members for consideration. A member entitled to attend and vote at the meeting may appoint a proxy to attend and vote on his behalf. A proxy need not be a member of the company. Number 5. As Secretary of Students Union Delhi, you have collected various articles for use of 6 million refugees from Bangladesh. The collections include clothes, utensils, wheat, rice, etc., and they have to be sent to Calcutta. Draft letter to the Union Minister for Railways requesting for release of wagons and waiver of railway charges for sending them to Calcutta. As an alternative, suggest that such parcels may be taken by the railway on its own responsibility and sent to Calcutta as in the case of foreign supplies. Make a general request for issue of instructions to appropriate railway authorities for exemption of railway charges for such parcels sent to Calcutta from different places of India. Also mention that in previous occasions the railways were kind enough to arrange wagons in time and waived the freight. Condense the following. Delivering the convocation address at Patna University, Sri Maulana Azad said, "Last year, in December, the Chancellor of your university invited me to come here and deliver the convocation address. Your able Vice Chancellor too pressed me for it. I would have certainly agreed to your request, but my ill health stood in my way and I had to beg leave to be excused. But this year again, when I was approached, I could not venture to offer an excuse. Now I am here and thank you for the opportunity you have given me to place my views before you. Perhaps this is the first time in the history of the Indian universities when English is being replaced by an Indian language for delivering a convocation address. I do not know what your reactions would be to my speaking in Hindustani. Do you think it is necessary for me to offer an apology for breaking with the past? No doubt it is a departure from the old established practice, and whenever a tradition is given up, it is customary to offer an excuse. But I do not think you require an explanation from me. Whatever I am doing is no doubt innovation, but I may be permitted to say that it is neither improper nor inopportune. Therefore, there is no need for an apology, standing as I do before an audience entirely composed of Indians and within the precincts of an Indian university. What could be more natural for me than to speak in an Indian language? Indeed, if an apology was needed, it was only for the adoption of a language forced upon us by the course of historical events. Even in our own country, we were made to give up our own languages and adopt the language of a foreign country. The rest of the world naturally wants to know why we are without a national language in spite of our independence. How is it that this unnatural state of affairs has come to exist, that we have no Indian language for running our government and our education? Now, the question arises how this unnatural state of affairs came to pass. There can be only one answer to this question. Our educational system was not introduced by us, it was founded and controlled by foreigners. Whatever they decided to teach us was right, but their method of imparting education was wrong. The method of teaching adopted by them was entirely unsuited to the life and needs of our countrymen. No Indian language but English, which was foreign to us, was made the medium of instruction. The result was that modern education in India began to be imparted in an un Indian way. The Indians had to shape their minds in artificial and not in natural molds. Not only they had to change their language but also their minds. Their whole approach to different branches of learning was through the medium of foreign language. Their whole energy, which should have been devoted to learning, is now divided, and they are forced to spend a great part of it in learning and mastering a foreign language. Another great harm that accrued from it was that the development of our languages was impeded. If the Indian languages had been made the media of instruction 150 years ago, they would have come in line with the progressive languages of the world. Supposing this educational revolution had been brought about by our own hands, we should have certainly done what other countries of Asia and East did in the 19th century.